What's freedom? How would you define freedom? Freedom for me is when you are able to be yourself no matter what social pressure is, no matter what, how other people would judge you. I grew up in Tunisia, a country that I love so much, but the Tunisian society have a lot of sicknesses. I've been suffering a lot from those sicknesses. In Tunisia, everyone would dictate whatever you should do. So, for example, at administration, they would tell you if you can name your kid XYZ name or not. Your parents would decide for you who is the person who you're going to marry, what kind of job you're going to take, and so on and so forth. It's a country with a lot of pressure, and it doesn't give space to people to create, think, and be themselves. One particular story shaped my life was when I was 15 years old, was 16 years ago. And it was a Thursday, 5 p.m. I was at an internet cafe, sitting with friends, when my father gets in. And he asked me to follow him home. And of course, he started with slamming me, kicking me everywhere. I felt like a ball because I stopped feeling. I didn't feel the pain. I developed an unpained skill because I didn't get used to it, but that was a very regular thing, not only for me, but for a lot of young people, teenagers, kids in Tunisia. Violence is kind of a drive to education. It's used to make people follow and obey. I was scared, and I didn't know what's coming next, but I didn't wait for long. I had to follow my father back to the internet cafe, and basically he thought that the guy I was talking to was my boyfriend. So we entered there again, and he called the police and told them, hey, there is prostitutes here. It's a place for prostitutes. So the police car came. I got into the police car with my father, and we drove to the police station. I mean, you can imagine in a society like Tunisia how that can be so bad looking for women, especially. So, of course, to make it shorter for you, and the police agents figured out that what he was saying was not true after interviewing me. And this story had a lot of, bad side effects on my life because that increased more and more social pressure and increased more and more gossiping, and people were talking about me and so on and so forth. I needed help. I didn't find any help from my family because even my mother trusted him, believed what he said. So I went to see psychiatrist. Thank you. Psychiatrist. And surprisingly, the advice I got was that was okay, what my father did. That was the right thing to do, and this is how the society is built, so I cannot change it. I just should live with it. And that was really shocking. So I was like, what? Okay, no, I think that gave me a lot of strength to move on and say, okay, I'm not going to follow anything, and I will need to stand up for myself. But that took 12 years. It was a long process. It took me 12 years to leave my parents' place and never come back. I didn't plan for it. It was just a survival decision. I didn't have any other choice. I lived in the street for, a month. I was back and forth in the street on some friend's place, and I remember I was even kicked out of my friend's place because her mother thought that I'm not a good person to hang out with. When I think back about these 12 years, how I could really take that decision and leave, I think that I could develop a recipe, my recipe. First, I created a positive environment where I could really be myself, feel good, be happy. And I made myself a priority. Second, I developed a lot of self-esteem. No matter what my parents would say at home, like, you know, bad things about me or whatever, or like society or like at school or university, doesn't care. I don't care. So self-esteem, and then I had to stay focused and determined to feel good all the time. I could do this with the help of a lot of people. So likely I joined an association live. So I joined at AIESEC and Junior Champion National, and that was an environment for me to learn and to experience a lot of new things. I could discover myself and what I exactly desire. I was surprised at several times that I could do good. And it was kind of a social therapy for me because I was, you know, giving and doing a lot of good things that made me really feel better and feel still and feel like, yes, this is the right way to do. And that shifted my focus from the day-to-day pressure and, you know, and the toxic feeling. And I realized that really everyone deserves that chance to be living truly, them, you know, live to the fully and find the inner peace and inner freedom. So I made that my mission. I'm now working on creating that environment for everyone. A place or, you know, spaces where people and young people can feel comfortable. Safe spaces where they can create, fail, think, without judging. Where they can collaborate with others and make impact. Take their own decisions to not make anyone else decide for them. I'm doing this with the organization I co-founded in 2012, the Tunisian Center for Social Entrepreneurship. I'm working closely with community members. I'm co-creating services with them. I'm empowering young people across the country to be truly themselves. I'm so happy to say that my mother believes that I was a good inspiration for her. After several years, she could decide for herself and make a great move in her life. At her 50 years old, she made great decisions and she is getting her freedom. That means a lot for me because I could at least inspire my mother. And I hope that everyone will be able to find the inner peace and inner freedom. And it's never late. It's always good to do it. Thank you.